From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Demo.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv at hotmail.com. And now, because MSN Messenger and Skype have joined hands in a corporate takeover, I might add, the new handle is XZone Radio TV, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. And don't forget, X-Zone Nation, you can always go to xzonepodcast.com and listen to the past 60 days of the X-Zone Radio show in case you've missed any of them. They're all there with our compliments. All right, sit down, everybody. You're not going to believe the story that we're going to be talking about this hour. Imagine this, if you will, X-Zone Nation. You experience strange ET contact and happenings your entire life. They begin to communicate through telepathy, leading you to cosmic spiritual truths regarding how thought create reality subject matter. They begin to reveal themselves in the physical in orbs of light plasma over Lake Erie. They even allow you to film them. Let's take it a step further. Your footage goes viral, gaining worldwide attention. Your footage lands you on a prime TV show called UFO Hunters on the History Channel. On the episode, they decide to test your blood, and it revealed that you do not have normal human blood, a rare blood anomaly bloodline that the world's best military and civilian doctors are at a loss to explain. The host of the show, legendary UFO researcher Bill Burns, goes on to say, this is a quote, "I've got a funny feeling that you're being recruited, and there is a branch of the government that you're being recruited for, that somehow, some way, you are a hybrid between ET and humans." Joining me now to talk about his story, Michael Lee Hill. Michael, it's one heck of a story, and I want to thank you so much for joining us to share your story with the X-Zone Nation tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Michael, you and I talked briefly off air, and I've got to say that you sound credible. You sound grounded. You sound as if what you're going to tell us tonight is nothing but the truth. Why do you think, Michael, these things are happening to you? Do you believe in your heart of hearts that you are a hybrid between a human and an ET?
I do now. You know, a lot has unfolded, and in a short amount of time. You know, the finding out of the not a normal human bloodline, that was in 2008, and it wasn't long after that where my first meeting happened with the Anunnaki, and at that point in time, I didn't even know what an Anunnaki was. There was no ancient aliens on TV, you know. That's what they announced themselves to me as, and so yeah, I know how crazy it sounds, but all I can tell you is it's really happening, and there's really I think it's the biggest story of mankind unfolding right here before our eyes, and Lake Erie is going to be a big part of it.
Now, I live on the shores of Lake Ontario, and everyone in Canada and the U.S. around this area knows of the Great Lakes Triangle. It's 33 times larger than the Bermuda Triangle. It's on a direct line with the Bermuda Triangle on the true magnetic north. More ships have been lost in the Great Lakes Triangle. More people have disappeared. More aircraft have disappeared. More paranormal activity happens within the Great Lakes Triangle than its famed cousin, the Bermuda Triangle. Exo Nation, we'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with MichaelLeeHill.com. And I made a mistake. We are smaller, or is it larger? I'm going to check during the commercial break, than the Bermuda Triangle. MichaelLeeHill.com is the website. We're talking about Lake Erie, ET contact, and much more this hour here in the X Zone as we continue from our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Michael Lee Hill and I return on the other side of this break. Don't go away. How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
I'm William S. Peckham. If you enjoy a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love my novel, From Out of the Woodwork. It's the story of a young Toronto contractor, Sean Kennedy, who buys derelict homes, guts them, and turns them into multi-family dwellings. Slums just waiting to happen. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, the house fights back. Former owners unexpectedly come out of the woodwork as he starts the destruction. The apparitions come to him when he touches old books, reads hidden letters, rummages through old boxes, finds a locket, or reads a discovered manuscript of a murder mystery. From Out of the Woodwork will take you from 1899 to the horror of the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. Check out From Out of the Woodwork on my website, www.williamspeckham.com.
Woke up this morning with light in my eyes, and then realized it was still dark outside. It was a light coming down from the sky. I don't know who or why. Must be those strangers that come every night. Those saucer-shaped lights put people uptight. Leave blue-green footprints that glow in the dark. I hope they get home alright. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride?
Welcome back, everyone. Michael Lee Hill is our special guest. His website is michaelleehill.com. And Michael, maybe you can take us to the beginning when all this started with you. I understand that you've had strange ET contact and happenings to you your entire life. When did it all start, Mike?
Well, early childhood, I remember getting visited by these beings, and to my mind as a child, I would ask my mom why Santa Claus's elves were coming to visit me. It wasn't Christmas, you know. And these were never scary, and matter of fact, it seemed like they would be giving gifts to me as a child. I looked forward to their visits when it happened. Strange things like that happened all during my childhood, and then, you know, in my 20s, I kind of went into the management thing and kind of, I just kind of lost focus of other things, I guess. But getting on later into my life is when, actually due to a tragedy that happened in my past, it just made me hit a wall mentally, and I cried out for answers, and evidently something or someone heard me, you know. And that started this path of discovery of the spiritual truths that we were talking about, which is, you know, thoughts create reality.
Yeah.
Quantum physics is backing this up now, that our consciousness is fundamental. You know, all this time we've been taught that what we think doesn't really matter, you know, as long as you don't put it out on someone else. And here it matters tremendously. You know, it's forming our reality. I started to understand these things, and it gave me a lot of faith to follow my dreams instead of living in fear. And that's when, in earnest, these ships started showing up for real. Like right, I live very close to Lake Erie, maybe 2 good rock throws from Lake Erie. And this is going back into 2005 when the first ships actually started to appear. And me and my bass player, I'm a musician, we were taking a break, and we were in my backyard, and we seen a craft right on the shoreline of Lake Erie. And it stayed for maybe 10 minutes, and we were both just blown away by how close it was. And I didn't get that one on film, but it sparked my curiosity to start going down to the lake and bringing a camcorder and just hanging out. And if something strange flew by, I was waiting for it with a camera on a tripod, you know. So I started going down any nice night I had. I started to just really enjoy the lake, actually, more than I had in the past. And started to accumulate quite a library of this footage, and it started to gain some notoriety, and that's what happened with the History Channel. One of my clips had went viral, and I think it's at 1.4 million views now, and my channel in general is at 3.5 million. So that brought the attention of the History Channel, and that was in 2008, so I had 3 years of filming this stuff down the lake, and that accumulated to what happened in 2008 with the History Channel. So that's pretty much how this first part of this story unfolded.
What have the experts, or so-called experts, said about the objects that you have in your videos?
It depends on who you talk to. I think that there's been, there's a whole debunking crowd that automatically says they're Chinese lanterns, they're flares, swamp gas, airplanes, whatever. One of my biggest people were saying that what I'm filming is actually cop cars in Canada. I'm like, you don't understand the physics of the
Holy
situation.
cow! No,
It's like 56 miles across the lake from here. They're not cop cars.
No, that absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. Mind you, Lake Erie as well as Lake Ontario are two of the most highly traveled air traffic corridors in North America. However,
Absolutely.
however, that doesn't justify the video footage that you have.
Well, what's really cool with this is during a stint where these objects started to appear nightly, and at one point it was 10 nights in a row, and it got to the point that MSNBC got involved, and they actually contacted the FAA, they contacted local Cleveland Hopkins Airport, and all parties said these are not FAA lights, there's nothing that they're doing, and whatever these objects were not showing up on radar.
Is it possible?
That's from the actual airport, so,
Sure, but is it possible they could be a new type of stealth aircraft?
You know what? Absolutely, because there is Wright-Patterson Air Force Base down. But I'll tell you what's strange is being down at the lake so often, I can tell you these orbs of light are entering and leaving the lake.
Really?
So if it is some type of new craft, I think it's something that we can't even fathom, Personally, I don't think it's us because my own research, I started looking into the activity over Lake Erie, and I've traced it back into the 1800s with newspaper articles from local Cleveland newspapers of that time, and they called them wizard lights. They said that there would be these objects that looked like a ship was on fire, hovering over the horizon, out over the lake, and people would send rescue ships out and never find any ships or anything. And the indigenous Indian tribes of this area said the same thing. They knew about these wizard lights, So I think that that's fascinating because to me it negates the possibility that it is our aircraft, secret black ops or otherwise, because it's been witnessed and reported back into the 1800s.
Now, do most of these sightings occur in the summertime, in the fall, the winter, or the spring? Or is it all year round?
All year round, really. I can tell you just over the years of going down there at a constant pace, there was one year in particular, I would say is probably 2007, where it seemed like the activity went away for almost an entire year. There was not even a speck of light out there, But then it came back, and it came back with vengeance. It was like the most activity I've ever seen. And they let me know that they knew I was down there filming them. They would come in closer and closer. And, one of the strangest things happened is at the end of this night, I had 2 one-hour tapes just filled with footage.
Right.
I thought to myself, man, this is some crazy stuff. I wonder really if they want me to release this to the world. So I figured, hell with it, I'll just ask them out loud right now. There's no one down here. So I said, if you don't want me to send this to the world, you need to show up and do something that's going to make it no doubt left in my mind that, and show up within 5 minutes, and I will never show this to anyone. So I sat there for 5 minutes, nothing happened, and then I said, cool, well, let's celebrate, because to me that was their sign that it was okay for me to release this stuff to the world. And at that time, the sky just exploded with activity of like celebration that I can't even tell you. It was just beautiful.
Bill, I'm sorry, Mike. When you're taking this video footage, have you ever had contact between yourself and these orbs?
No. It's always been me standing on the shore, filming them, and for the longest time, I didn't know exactly what it even was.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, when the History Channel came to my house, for the first time ever, I was shown video footage of this phenomenon happening elsewhere. Up until this point, I didn't know what it was. I just knew it was not airplanes, it wasn't helicopters, something strange was going on. The History Channel brings me this laptop and says, we want to get your opinion on this footage. And it was from the UK. And these orbs of light had shown up over a town and brought the whole town to a standstill. And people had come out from the pubs and were witnessing it, and it really made all the newspapers over in the UK. Well, I'm looking at the footage. I'm like, oh, my God, this is the exact same thing that's over Lake Erie. The guy laughs. He goes, yeah, that's why we're asking you to get your opinion. So this is, for the first time, I realized, oh, my God, this is not just something that's happening right here. This is happening in other parts of the world. So I started to accumulate article after article and news clip after news clip of these objects showing up over all the major cities worldwide, and it is making the media, but no one is putting two and two together for the masses that this is the exact same phenomenon showing up over these cities. And they're flying in the same formations and the same orbs of light energy, and I think it's fascinating, you know. So I started to take all those clips and accumulate a compilation that I put up on YouTube. You can check it out. It's called The Anunnaki Are Showing Up Worldwide. And to my shock, that one's at 1.4 million views right now.
Tell me, why do you keep referring to them as the Anunnaki if you have had no contact with them? How do you know they're the Anunnaki?
That came after actually all the filming. What had happened was the filming going viral and everything is what got the History Channel to approach me.
Uh-huh.
The History Channel, unbeknownst to me, had just interviewed a Marine in Washington. His name was Terrell Copeland.
Right.
And he had filmed the exact same objects as me. He had received the same kind of contact telepathically at this point, and the same message of, spiritual message of thoughts create reality, and we have two choices, fear or love, kind of starting to understand those concepts. But the weird thing was, he was discharged from the military because they had found he had this unknown blood anomaly. So that's what caused the History Channel in the first place to think, since these two have such similar cases and are separated by 500 miles, wouldn't it be strange if this guy ended up with this same unknown rare blood disorder? So that's why they flew us both to Boston to have this done. The end of that show is when the Harvard doctor revealed, you do have the same thing. Actually, my levels were almost identical to Terrell's, which we can get into that. If
we've got to take our news break in about 40 seconds, but I have to ask you, were any other blood tests done, or is it just this one blood test that revealed all this information? Have you been retested by a Canadian doctor?
No.
Why not?
I've been retested by some folks who... it's a whole other subject matter. When Bill Burns said, I think you're going to be contacted by a secret group of insiders, well, they took a blood sample.
And what was their finding?
Same thing. It's the Nephilim bloodline. It's actually one of the indicators we can get into is what happens.
All right, stand by. I've got to take my news break. We'll be back on the other side of the news. X-Zone Nation. www.michaelleehill.com. I'm Rob McConnell. We'll be back. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the esoteric series, modern esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Splinza, and you're listening to my dad, Rob McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My guest this hour is Michael Lee Hill. His website is www.michaelleehill.com. And Michael, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Great pleasure talking to you. When you and I last left before the news, we were talking about the blood tests and the bloodline that you were talking about. I know that you've had two tests done on your blood. One was done by the History Channel at a lab of their choice. I believe it was in Boston. And the second was done by a lab that was chosen by UFO researcher Bill Burns. Am I correct?
No, actually, those are one and the same. Bill Burns is the one that arranged for me to be flown to Boston to have my blood work done by the Harvard professor.
All right.
The other time my blood was checked was actually not a public thing whatsoever, and it was done without my permission, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't. Tell me about that, because my question to you on the second part of is has there been independent testing beside these labs, the first one that Bill set up for you and the second one that was against your will?
No,
Okay.
those are the two only times.
All right, so tell me about the time where your blood was taken without your permission.
Well, once all this started happening, my life was infiltrated by Black Ops agents.
Really?
And this girl entered my life as a girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and we dated for about 2 months, and one night she took a blood sample from me, and it wasn't pleasant. And that ended the relationship, and the next time I seen her, this is a weird subject, but she had a ring, and she took it during, like, a sexual thing, and right when it happened, I was like, wait a minute, whoa, pain, I'm in pain here, something happened, I don't know if you got a ring on or whatever, but stopped for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no, don't worry about it. And it made me kind of forget about it. Well, the next morning, we got up and I drove her home. And when I got home myself to take a shower, when I took off my pants, my underwear was just covered in blood. And I went in, I seen for the first time that the bed was covered in blood. So the next time I seen her, I'm like, I'm not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I know something happened in the bed. I told you it did. And now I'm covered in blood. And she said, your hard-earned tax dollar is being put to good use. She said they wanted to confirm what the History Channel had revealed about your bloodline. And they have. And
now let me just ask you something here.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wanted to take your blood, why would they do it in such a fashion that you would know what they were doing if you were going out with this girl? Could she not have just simply taken a sample of your blood while you were asleep? Couldn't she have just taken a sample of your hair for DNA analysis?
It was definitely the blood they wanted, and I asked her the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, why that way? Well, first of all, if they would have asked me, I wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one thing. I've never even given blood in my life because I guess you call it a phobia of needles. I don't want anything to do with needles. All my time.
But you let Bill Burns' lab take blood from you.
Yeah, I didn't even know what they were flying me to Boston for. If they would have told me, I probably would have said no. I didn't know until I got there what was going on.
Right.
And then I was like, wow, I'm going to have my blood taken while they're filming me in the hospital and act like it doesn't hurt, I guess,
All right.
So
now, after you woke up, you were covered in blood. There was blood in your bed. Did you call the police?
No.
Why?
No, I confronted her. I asked her, and I just wanted to see her response.
But if somebody does that to you, why wouldn't you call the police? That's a crime.
No, that's a good question. It didn't even really occur to me.
Wait a sec. Hold on here. You're having sex. This girl takes a sample of your blood. You wake up in the morning. You've got blood on you. There's blood on your bed. And you don't think to call the police when you find out that this blood sample was taken against your will?
No, it didn't even cross my mind. I really wanted to talk to her, and I just wanted to see what she was going to say. I didn't.
Have you
really
seen her
know
since?
What happened.
Have you seen her since?
No. Well, one time she stopped over. Now I have a new girlfriend in my life, and we're engaged, as a matter of fact. But about a year and a half ago, that girl stopped over while my new fiance is living with me. So
right.
I introduced the two.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what she said. I said, "How come that way? Why would you take it from my penis?" And she said the penis actually has the thinnest skin on the body. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And she said that the people that she worked for, and she told me it's the Labyrinth Group, which, again, that gets into a whole other subject. But
did you take any pictures of these wounds? Did you take any pictures? Did you take any pictures of the blood on your bed, of the blood on yourself?
No.
So how do we know it
you
really?
Know what? I don't really think about it.
Hold on here. So how do we really know what happened?
Oh, you don't really.
Okay.
I'm just giving you, my personal account on, what happened. That's one thing through this. It's just things that happen. Some things are totally. I can say, well, you can ask the doctor.
Yeah.
Other things, they're just things that happen. I know personally, if you got to talk to, like, if you came and interviewed my girlfriend, you'd see that, she's met her personally and talked to her.
But did your girlfriend talk to her about the time she withdrew blood from you?
Yes, actually, my girlfriend knows all about it still to this day, and they didn't talk about that. Actually, it was very uncomfortable when she showed up. I just said, I want to introduce you to my girlfriend, and she said, I just wanted to stop by and say hi, and that was it. She left, and I've never seen her again. You know what? I guess a lot of it, I was when she came to me and opened up, like any question I asked her, she, I asked her to see the ring that did it, because it took like it felt like a hornet thing is what it felt like. And I said, well, what was it? And it's a ring. And I said, well, show it to me. And she showed me the ring. And I said, I don't see any places on the bottom of the ring that blood could even get into the ring part of it. And she said, Michael, atoms are almost empty space. What we need out of your blood is microscopic. And I was like, oh my God. That really affected me badly, because up until that point, that felt like a betrayal of my space and energy. I cared for her. We talked about a lot of things that I couldn't talk about with other people. Pretty much she said you were a job. I hate to say it, but I came here to get this blood sample from you. They wanted to know, and I didn't think I'd have feelings, but I did, and I don't want to hurt you.
Let me ask you this. Do you have any pictures of her?
Oh, yeah.
Both of you together?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Because
isn't it normal when guys are going out with their girlfriends that they like to have pictures of them?
Yeah, I guess. We didn't date that long.
You said 2 months.
2 months, like I said, yeah.
Now you also said you drove her home?
Yeah, absolutely.
So after all this happened, did you try to establish who she really was? Was that her real name she was using? Did she actually live at the address that you took her to?
She was living with her family that lived very close to a place that I used to play at quite often. I'm a musician.
Yeah.
And she had just moved in from, I believe it was Las Vegas. And she just told me, exactly what I told you. It wasn't pleasant.
Okay.
I just didn't. And no, you know what? I don't take a lot of photos. I do now. I got a nice Nikon, but I've never owned a cell phone.
Okay.
I don't like the phone I really have on my wall. And to me, I really love like watching movies and music and things that just interrupt it constantly. So I've never owned a cell phone, so I don't really have easy access to take photos.
All right, let me ask you something else here. We were talking earlier about the contact, and you claim or you believe that these contacts are with the Anunnaki. How do you know that?
Because after all this went down in the early 2008, in the middle of 2008, a friend had invited me to go to a campground in New York called Brushwood. There was a festival going on called Sirius Rising, and I didn't know at the time, but it's a pagan festival. I don't have nothing against pagans, but I'm not a pagan, but that's what it was. So when I went there, it was a whole weekend event, and on Saturday, there's a guy that was there that kind of took me under his wing, and his name was Loki. And that night, he he said he was going to go back to the campsite, just make sure everything was buttoned down and whatnot. And I was doing nothing, so I told him I'd go back with him. And when we got back to the campsite, he told me that there were some people waiting in this gazebo-type structure. They call it the genie bottle. He said that there's some people that have been wanting to talk to you, and they're waiting inside the genie bottle. So I thought that was interesting. Like, who the hell is waiting to talk to me at a campground, So I entered it, and there was a male and a female on this bed structure that was in there, and they announced themselves to me as the Anunnaki. At that point, I didn't know what an Anunnaki even was. They said, we have been known as the Anunnaki, is what they said.
What did they look like? Did they look like normal people? Were they dressed in normal clothes?
No, actually, these people that were sitting on the bed, I could see everything like normal up to their necks. Like, first of all, this is at night, and so you can visualize what it looked like. Inside this gazebo, it was candlelit, and up to their necks, I could see everything perfectly. But when it got to their faces up, it almost looked like they were faceless, like there was some type of shadow that had went up and was obscuring their facial features. And it just seemed to be like tracking their face. Wherever they moved, that shadow would, and I couldn't see their faces. And the first thing I asked him, I said, can I see your real faces? And he said, no, you'll have to wait till tomorrow to see our real faces. And first of all, I thought that was interesting, because then I knew, wow, this is going to be a long meeting, I guess, if I'm going to be seeing them tomorrow as well, But they appeared faceless in this meeting, which was kind of unsettling, as you can imagine.
So how do you know that they were really ETs?
I don't. This is just what they...
What they told you?
This is what they told me. Like I said, at this point, I didn't even know what an Anunnaki was. There was no ancient aliens. Now I'm pretty educated on the subject because, it's come up in my life. But at that time, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know any of the mythology or the, folklore behind what it was. But what he told me was, he said, first of all, he wanted to know what I knew about a senior scientist from Lockheed Martin named Boyd Bushman. And what had happened was me and David Sarita had partnered on a film earlier, and it's called From Here to Andromeda. And in that, the senior scientist from Lockheed Martin just spilled the beans, showed us working anti-gravity on film, the concepts behind it, showed us the blueprints for the first nuclear-powered flying saucer that was flown in 1959 that was reverse engineered from the Roswell crash. And all this came out in our video. So here this guy in front of me says, we want to know what you know about this, because I work for a group of people who decide what gets released to the public regarding the extraterrestrial subject, and the Boyd Bushman stuff was not on the list. And you've pissed off a lot of people behind the scenes that caused a lot of finger pointing, trying to figure out how this information was ever allowed to reach the masses. And so what do you know about it? And I said, I know a lot about it. It's my film. I willed that film into manifestation, which I did. It was my baby, and brought the parties into it, That started the whole conversation into a whole nother realm of, he said that he belonged to the J. Allen Hynek family, which J. Allen Hynek was the head of Project Blue Book. And he said that family is still in charge. But this gets into some really strange things, because you asked me what the bloodline is.
Yeah.
What it all connects to this, because when they say the J. Allen Hynek family is in charge of what gets released, they're not talking family as in it's a bloodline. And there's certain bloodlines, and certain bloodlines take care of the economic stuff,
I've got to tell you, this sounds rather all fantastic. Sounds a little bit out there.
Oh, yeah.
How?
It is what it is. I know what it sounds like, but if you want the truth, I'm telling you 100% what I've learned, and it's truth.
All right, stand by. We've got to take our final commercial break for this hour. Exonation, Michael Lee Hill is our guest this hour. www.michaelleehill.com is the website. Fact is stranger than fiction sometimes. Is this one of those times?
Indeed.
My name's Rob
the
McConnell.
strange
We'll be
thing is,
back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey, gonna get you.
What if someone told you you could live to be 120? Would you believe him? What if he told you the Bible guaranteed it? All you needed to do was follow his rules and buy his products. Would you do it? What if you invested 20 years of your life in him? What if he tested his substances on your child? What if your child became brain damaged as a result? Meet Dr. Tyler Belknap, a fast-talking Texas admin turned health guru. At the helm of a vast health food and supplement empire, he has established himself as the authority on nutrition and longevity. But what his followers don't know is that his products are laced with bizarre psychoactive substances from genetically modified plants developed in his very own secret lab. No wonder his customers can't stop using them. Tyler Belknap will stop at nothing to keep his edge in the market, even if it means experimenting on children. Chasing 120, a story of food, faith, fraud, and the pursuit of longevity, a novel from the pen of political cartoonist Monty Wolverton, is an easy and entertaining read full of rich characters and intrigue. It hits home in a world filled with all kind of hucksterism and offers a glimpse of what can happen when GMO technology falls into the wrong hands. Chasing 120 by Monty Wolverton. Get your copy today at www.ptm.org/120 or on Amazon.com.
Nita Hickok is an expert in exorcisms, psychic warfare, soul healing, angelology, soul retrieval, demonology, energy healing, long-distance healing, astral healing, and much more. Nita is an interfaith minister because she believes all gods and goddesses are valid and that they are part of one divine force that is incomprehensible to us who are incarnated upon this earth. Nita has been doing astral healing, distant healing, spirit release, exorcism, house cleansing and blessings, soul restoring and revival, psychic vampire removal and curse removal, and much more for over 40 years. For more information or to contact Nita Hickok, visit her website at www.astralhealer.com. That's www.astralhealer.com.
With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com.
Well, I just got back from Roswell, where the aliens have been. And if you ask the feds the cause, well, they'll only lie again. Now I'm hunted by the gumshoes, and I'm wanted by the cops, 'cause they think that I might be the guy making circles in the crops. And I know that there's a conspiracy from the voices in my head. Elvis lives, that's clear to me. It's McCartney who is dead. And if the Mars men should come again and take me, I will go. I will take a trip on their rocket ship. God bless the UFO. Give JFK this message. It's the Cuban Army's fault. And I know that Dave Koresh is alive inside a vault. We've seen reports in papers of a guy who knows about a car that runs on chewing gum, but the Arabs rubbed him out. And we loudly warn that America is badly unprepared. With the Cold War through, we need something new that can get you good and scared. Do you wonder just who is warning you of conspiracies today? We're the ones who fill the rumor mill. We are the CIA.
Exonation, our guest this hour is Michael Lee Hill. His website is www.michaelleehill.com. Michael, why do you think the information about UFOs, ET contacts that have been happening apparently since the beginning of time is being suppressed by the governments of the world?
Interesting you would ask that. Because of some of the people that I met who Bill Burns had accurately predicted that would be contacting me, I found out last year because I worked with Spike TV for 6 months, and they had me, I passed a lie detector test with the chief of police for the New York Police Department. There was professional regression by a hypnotist involved, and they had proven the Lake Erie UFOs beyond a shadow of a doubt. They had testimony from the East Lake Police Department, all my research, and make a long story short, it got shut down. And right after that is when the head of this secret group of insiders that had taken me under the wing, I was pulled into a meeting with about 8 individuals. They said that they wanted to tell me why this information has been withheld from the masses, including now my Spike TV show, for the last 25 years. And they said what people don't understand is that the UFO technology leads straight to their propulsion systems and to free energy. And they said it's not really that hard to figure out once you understand the new physics. It's Pandora's box that every single person on this planet will have unlimited free energy. They said, what do you think that people will do who, stone a woman to death because she's rumored to be having an affair, or in other countries where we're killing.
Hey, listen. I don't want to bring politics into it, and I certainly don't want to bring other religious philosophies into it, because in my book that really doesn't wash. So anyway, listen, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll keep our eyes and ears open for you, and who knows. All right, thanks very much, Guy.
That? I don't understand, though. You just asked me why, and they said it's free energy. And what do you do for the people who would...
All righty, we've got to go, because this guy here, he's making more claims than I've lost track. I really have lost track. Do I believe him? Nah, not at all. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X Zone continues right here from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. That's if the Black Ops, the Orbs, the UFOs, Bill Burns, or the Spike TV, or let's see, the History Channel doesn't get me first. We'll be back. Don't go away. I'm going to get my blood checked.